Hello, hi, it's me, Vicky Marie. And then, depending on where you are, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. So, it's morning here in Spain, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. And I thought, come on, and I'm always a bit fresher in the morning for doing lives. I was going to do a live last night and then I just didn't. So, I will be doing one later today, though, early evening, definitely. Now, I had a little bit of a disaster this morning. I dropped my vitamin tablets on the floor and lost about 100 of them. And then I had to get it into context because I did sort of contemplate picking them up, but my floor's not clean enough to think that they'd be okay to pick up again and then put in my mouth. So, no. So they all went in the bin. And you think, oh God, is that how the day's going to start? But you know what? At least my day is not starting with a missing loved one, wondering, and again, where are they? Another night without them, either bringing their remains home like it with Samantha Murphy, or literally not even knowing where they are. So, you get things into context and you think, well, dropping a few vitamin tablets on the floor is hardly the end of the world, is it? So, good morning, Tracy. Good morning, Ocean. You're not running this morning, Tracy. You're not running today. Anyway, so of course we've been concentrating on quite a few missing person cases, haven't we? Obviously, Samantha Murphy, though, technically, I mean, she is still missing, but of course, someone's been charged for a murder. So it's just a question, really, of finding her remains, isn't it, that we're praying for every day. Then Sebastian Rogers, of course, this is a very, very worrying case of the 15-year-old autistic boy. A complete mystery. Honestly, I have absolutely no idea. I don't feel like it's one person more than another that's suspicious. It's a complete mystery to me, that. And then, of course, Anna Knežević. That's all gone quiet in Madrid because the police have made the case secret. And we were sort of looking for Riley Strain, but he's been brought home, at least to his family now. Just a question of finding out what happened to Riley, isn't it? Anyway, there's been a few other cases that are sort of in the, have been in the news. And every time I start looking at the cases we've been looking at, they pop up in my feed, in my YouTube feed. And I've been thinking, I must do something about that. The thing is, missing people. Oh my God, people just go missing all the time, don't they? And the more you look into it, the more you realize how many people go missing. And they go missing for all kinds of reasons. Sometimes it is intentional. Sometimes people do want to go missing deliberately. They want to maybe just escape their life for a bit. Sometimes they want to delete themselves. Sometimes there's foul play involved. Sometimes there's accidental things involved. So there's all those, and most missing people are found quite soon after they go missing. And if they're not found soon after they go missing, it's unlikely that they will maybe even ever be found. And if they've got into water, as we've seen with Nicola Bulley, with Riley Strain, it can take quite a long time to find them because water does not give up its secrets easily. And then, of course, it gets more difficult to establish what's happened. The longer, if it is the worst thing that's happened to them, in other words, they're not alive anymore, the longer the body is missing for, the harder it is to establish exactly what happened to them. So yeah, it's very sad. And as I say, just waking up and little things happen to us every day that we complain about. But imagine waking up and your loved one was still missing. Maybe a day later, a week later, a month later, years later, and you still do not know what's happened to them. So I'm going to light the candle for all the missing people. Hopefully, one way or another, they find their way home to their families, because it is important, as we know, even if if they are no longer with us on this planet, it is important to families to have to be able to say goodbye to their loved ones. Hi, Claire. Yes, it is. It's live. I am live, even though I'm a little bit tired. I am live. So I've liked doing these early morning lives. I know sometimes people aren't up in time, and I know that, but for me, I'm a bit more fresher at this time in the morning, so I quite enjoy doing the morning lives, and then people can catch up as the day goes on. So I've got my love mug today, so I'm sending love out to everybody as well. So we're going to look at three other missing person cases, one of which it has been established that there is foul play, but that's the last one we're going to look at. We're going to start off by looking at the case of Caleb Harris. Now, this has come up sort of, I'm not sure why this didn't get the same traction as Riley Strain. This is probably because there's not so much CCTV. I do think that when there's a lot of CCTV and a lot of video coverage of a case, or of someone going missing, just before they went missing, it does seem to get more traction that way. Now, there is some CCTV of Caleb, but this is again, one of those really mysterious cases, high proving audacity. And yeah, the love's going round. Let's share the love today. Now, I'm going to read you the timeline, first of all, of Caleb's disappearance. I don't know if it's Caleb or Caleb that it's pronounced, but I'm going to say Caleb. And Caleb was a young man, very similar age-wise to Riley Strain. He's, exactly the same, or more or less, 21 years old. So let's have a look at Caleb and see what happened. Very mysterious disappearance of Caleb. Anyway, let's have a look. So this is Caleb. He obviously likes fishing. There's quite a lot of pictures of him around on the various YouTube channels, etc., of him with fish. So it's now been this. When was this article done? When did it go? So it disappeared on March the 4th, and we are now on the 7th of April. So it's been missing for over a month. Over a month. Imagine that if you were the parents. Your 21-year-old son just disappeared into thin air. Literally, this guy has disappeared into thin air, or that's how it feels. So in this article, we've got a timeline that was compiled from interviews with Caleb's family, roommates, family and friends, and hours of surveillance camera footage that was captured on the grounds of the New Braunfels Man's off-campus apartment complex, the cottages at Corpus Christi. In Texas, this is. So the police are continuing an intense behind-the-scenes investigation in cooperation with state and federal partners, because this boy really has just disappeared completely, and not even, he wasn't even out partying or doing anything like that. I mean, he was literally just at home. So he apparently spent the evening hours of Sunday, March the 3rd, inside his off-campus apartment on the 1900 block of Ennis-Joslin Road, along with his two roommates and a mutual friend. They played video games online for over an hour with another former high school classmate who currently resides in Colorado. And then at approximately 12:56 a.m., so nearly 1 o'clock in the morning on Monday, March the 4th, a doorbell camera at a nearby apartment, we are going to look at this footage, revealed Caleb, his friend, and one of Caleb's roommates in the parking lot playing with the puppy belonging to the girlfriend of one of his roommates. And the report then described a sequence of events that followed in quick succession, with 3 young men then returning to the Harris's apartment. They keep calling him Harris, Caleb's apartment, and the mutual friend left shortly afterwards. At around 2:20 a.m., the second of Caleb's roommates informed him that he was going to bed. Caleb replied he was going to stay up to order snacks via Uber Eats for his school lunch later that day on Monday. Now, apparently, I watched his dad being interviewed, and apparently Caleb was very organised with everything, and every night he would order his lunch from Uber Eats, his school lunch for the following day. He would order it the night before. So that's what he did. He ordered some food from Uber Eats for the following day. And then at about 2:44 a.m., he shared a Snapchat video with his younger sister that depicted him walking the puppy through what appeared to be the apartment complex parking lot. And at about 3:03 a.m., he sent another Snapchat photo to a high school friend currently living in San Antonio. Now, this was strange to me. He sent him a photo depicting a small bridge over a drainage ditch on the 1900 block of Ennis Jocelyn, within a few hundred feet of the entrance to the apartment complex. Now, why did he send that photo? So this is a small bridge over a drainage ditch. Very odd photo for a young person to send, and the other person has got no idea why you would send him that photo. So photos of the bridge have been circulating online through social media posts in the last week and are among the unofficial pictures, Snapchats and chat logs published by friends, acquaintances and strangers who have become involved in the search and rescue effort for Caleb, in parallel to the official police investigation, as speculation ferments about Harris's or Caleb's whereabouts. So his last known location was confirmed by data that his cell phone shared with the nearest cell phone tower at 3:12 a.m. So that was the last that anyone knew of Caleb. Then the Uber Eats driver arrived, a woman. She's been cleared. Her story's been cleared. She delivered food to his apartment. She left it outside the front door as it was requested, as he always requested. The investigators' notes do not confirm when the dog that Harris had been walking was returned to the apartment. So at some point, Caleb returned the dog to the apartment, but Caleb's keys and wallet were left in his apartment. So at some point, he must have returned to his apartment. Having said that, he had roommates, so maybe he didn't feel that he needed his keys, but one of his roommates had gone to bed. Don't know where the other one was. Anyway, it seems strange that he went out without his keys, really, doesn't it? But he had his phone with him. I mean, it doesn't feel strange that he didn't take his wallet, because if he wasn't going anywhere, that really, why would he need his wallet? But you would have thought that he would have needed his keys. Anyway, his roommates called the police to report him missing after one of them found the Uber Eats order sitting outside the front door at 11 a.m. Monday morning. So that's when it was realised he was missing. And he went looking for him for a short time. Caleb's pickup truck was parked in front of the apartment. The roommates described him as a homebody, a creature of habit, and were alarmed by his absence. And that is what his dad has said as well. He was a creature of habit. He did he seemed quite rude. I mean, this about ordering your lunch the night before that's quite organised for a 21-year-old man, isn't it? 21-year-olds are normally a bit more haphazard than that, than ordering in their food for the following day. So, now, so that's more or less all we know about him. But anyway, after he was reported missing, the initial responding officer checked all hospitals, all local hospitals, because that'd be your next step. If something had happened to him while he was out and he'd been taken to hospital, and he checked for any unidentified patients matching the student's description without finding any. And the report on March the 28th elaborated on how police determined from a preliminary search of the apartment complex and the immediate area surrounding it that there were no signs of a struggle or violence, nor any indication of a hit and run on the roads nearby, and the officer ensured that Caleb was entered into the National Computer Database as a missing person. They then started a door-to-door search for evidence at the apartment complex, and previous reports have described an intensive, large-scale search organised and conducted in these areas surrounding Harris's apartment by detectives. And this investigative team consists of CID detectives, Criminal Investigation Division detectives, the CCPD Organised Crime Unit, the FBI, the US Marshals Service, the Texas Rangers, and several civilian crime analysts. And this was formed within days of Caleb's vanishing and continues to work full-time to solve this case. And then on a March 20th news release noted that CID detectives began to question people who knew him. Officers were going door to door at his apartment complex and an adjacent apartment complex, looking for witnesses or surveillance video and searching more than 30 vacant apartments. After interviewing his roommates, friends, families, members, and acquaintances, detectives reported they did not have a reason to suspect that any of these individuals were involved in the student's disappearance. And the March 28th report stated everyone's been extremely cooperative with investigators since the outset. So here he is, Caleb. $25,000 reward has brought in no new information. His father offered that, his family, his mother and father offered this reward quite a while ago now, and it doesn't seem to have helped. So anyway, that's if anyone's watching from that area, there's there's a number that you should ring if you have any information. $25,000 reward offered for anyone with information about Caleb Harris, a Texas A&M University Corpus Christi student missing since March the 4th. So he's literally gone out to walk this dog. He sent that very strange picture of the bridge to one of his friends, which that strikes me as quite worrying, to be honest, because there's no reason why he should have sent that photo. Did he send it or did somebody else send it? That's the question, isn't it? Anyway, no evidence of a struggle was found, nor a violent act or signs that the apartment had been recently cleaned. And they found his normal items, firearms. What? So he had firearms, did he? Anyway, well, that's not unusual in America, is it? Fishing gear, we can see that he's a keen fisherman, and waders that belong to the man. So they obtained his laptop. They took it to forensic computer examiners. And after learning that he ordered Uber Eats in the early hours of March the 4th, they identified and interviewed the delivery driver, a 31-year-old woman. She told detectives she was driving alone that night. She did not see Harris or anyone else. Detectives confirmed she was alone from surveillance video from the convenience store where she picked up his order, and she has been eliminated as a suspect. So police are relying on camera footage provided by surveillance videos, checking more than 50 businesses and residences, and retrieving video from 27 locations. And the search for additional video searches sources is ongoing. And as I say, we're going to look at some of that in a moment. But how can someone just disappear into thin air? It is impossible. No wonder people always say that. It is impossible to disappear into thin air. A grown man, he can't just disappear. So something has happened to him. Either somebody's done something to him, or possibly he has deleted himself, because although there was no evidence to support that he had that in it, I mean, they may have found more evidence now if they've been through his computer. But, he'd ordered the Uber Eats for the next day. He didn't, there was no sign that he was going to do it. But, sometimes people can just take it into their head and just do it. So detectives have written 16 electronic search warrants, submitted more than 70 preservation requests, issued 14 subpoenas for electronic data. Forensic computer examiners have reviewed over 600 gigabytes of electronic data and continue as it arrives on a daily basis. And the investigative team continue to meet daily to share information from the previous day's efforts, discuss possible leads, and plot the course of the investigation. So detectives have reviewed and followed up where appropriate on 14 Crime Stoppers tips, 31 tip line tips, and several others from various sources. And this $25,000 reward is still available. So here's what you should do if you have any information. You should take a screenshot of that, and it's got all the details. So, okay, let's have a look at his family talking now. So this was quite early on, this interview. This was about 2 weeks ago, March the 13th. So it'd been missing for about 2 weeks, and it's about 2 weeks ago from today.
Police say 21-year-old Caleb Harris was last seen early Monday morning on March 4th when he took his dog out for a walk. He then put the dog back inside his apartment, ordered Uber Eats at 2:45 a.m., went outside to wait for it, and hasn't been seen since. Something is not adding up here, and Harris's family says he just vanished in the middle of the night. Joining me now is Caleb's parents, Randy and Becky Harris. Thank you both so much for being with me this morning. I know this is incredibly a trying time for both of you, a nightmare. How are you holding up?
We're holding up as best we can and trying to get.
I honestly don't know how these parents, when you see the parents being interviewed with these missing people, I would just be a gibbering wreck if my son disappeared. Because when you know your son well enough to know that they don't just disappear, it's so totally out of character. I mean, it's different if, I suppose everybody's different, aren't they? Some people do go a bit AWOL, don't they, for a couple of days. God, I used to get panic if, the WhatsApp, you'd be on the WhatsApp looking to see when they were last on WhatsApp, wouldn't you? If they had, because sometimes young men, my son's older now, he's a bit more responsible, but sometimes when they're this age, they don't think to keep in touch with the parents, and you send them a message and they don't answer, and you start to panic thinking. So then you try and have a look, see if they've been, on WhatsApp to anyone, maybe not to you, because they don't think you're important enough to get back to. But yeah, and then you see, or then you might message their friend, might you, and say, have you heard anything from whoever? So I just don't know how these neighbours, these parents, are strong enough to come on and do that. I think a lot of them seem to be quite, they talk about their faith quite a lot, and that's good. If that props you up, that's good.
Get rest and be vigilant, and just have a community of people that have surrounded us and are praying for us.
Yeah. Dad, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Just staying strong, being patient, and letting the authorities do what they do best, and they're doing a phenomenal job, and just loving on our family and doing good.
What is the latest in this search? When you talk about law enforcement, are any new developments, leads, overnight as to where Caleb could be?
There aren't any new leads. We're still just looking at everything we possibly can find, and so today will be another just full day of searching, another full day of just getting the word out, working with social media, anything we can do to continue the awareness, just like you're doing here.
Becky, I understand that your son is a creature of habit. He ordered, as I mentioned off the top, he ordered Uber Eats at 2:45 in the morning, 2 Lunchables, an apple pie, a Red Bull. He ordered that at the convenience store. Does any of that, ring alarm bells for you, or does that all add up and in character for Caleb?
It does add up and is in character with Caleb. That's his fishing lunch. So he knew he was going to be going out fishing after classes that next morning, and that's typically what he takes whenever he goes out fishing.
And have you talked to Uber Eats? I mean, did they deliver that to him, or was the order still sitting on his doorstep?
The order was still on his doorstep, but yes, absolutely, authorities have gone through and visited with the Uber Eats people and the delivery person and timestamp and everything. So yes, that has been.
Mm-hmm. Are you happy with law enforcement efforts thus far? I mean, do you feel like they're doing their due diligence and keeping you in the loop as a family?
Yes, I think they're doing the best that they can so far. And
I do think, see, all those pictures, all those smiles and everything, it's funny, isn't it? Because sometimes I've started to think lately that the more smiles you see on photos and families and stuff like that, the more likely something is to be going wrong. Because, to be honest, I still even now can't get my son to have his photo taken. He doesn't want his photo taken. He hates it. And yet all those photos are all smiling. There's all this happy family, and you think, I've started to think, you just can't believe anything. And the more, was he happy? No, what I'm trying to say is he looks so happy on all those photos, doesn't he? He's having a great time. But was he? Was he inside? Was he happy? Has he taken himself off and done something to himself? In which case, of course, he will turn up sooner or later. Or has some foul play befallen him?
We are grateful for all of the time that they have put into the efforts of finding him.
They've come out in a massive way to help, especially in the searches with cadets, with Coast Guard, Texas Parks and Wildlife, all of their search teams. They're using every resource they can, and yes, they are doing a phenomenal. Absolutely, very, very pleased with, and doing great.
Yeah, I know it's all hands on deck. And lastly, parents have instincts, right? I mean, what does your gut check tell you has happened to your son and where he might be?
My gut tells me he is out there, and we need to find him, and that I just hope that whenever he's out there and we're looking for him, that he knows how many people love him, and that he recalls scripture for himself, and will cry out so that we can get him home.
That he recalls scripture for himself. See, they're so religious, which I'm not criticizing. I mean, each to their own, but it just shows you that's what takes them through, I suppose. She's saying she's not getting that sort of mother's gut instinct. I think sometimes you do get, not only mothers, you do get an instinct that something's happened to someone. I mean, where can he be? I mean, you've got to be... got to face facts, really. How can a young man just disappear? If he hasn't taken his wallet with him, if he hasn't taken his car with him, like if he'd gone off with his car, well, you could imagine that maybe he's just took himself off somewhere for a couple of days because he's, I don't know, something's bugging him or whatever. He's obviously a very keen fisherman. He's even got fish here on his cap. Nearly every photo, video you see of him, it's about fishing. So that's obviously a big hobby of his. But you just think, where can he be? You cannot feel that it must be very difficult to stay positive, because this boy, oh man, he can't have just disappeared into thin air. But where is he? And I'm sure if he could contact his family, I don't think he would leave his family worrying about him if he could do anything about it.
I know the family's keeping the faith in this time. Randy and Becky Harris, I'm so sorry for everything you're enduring. Thank you for your time. Please keep us posted as to how we continue to put the spotlight on your son's story. Thanks for watching.
Right, let's have a look at another one. So this is a more recent one. This is into its 4th week.
Texas A&M Corpus Christi student disappeared in the early morning hours of March 4th. Caleb's parents say he took his roommate's dog out for a walk, put the dog back into the apartment, and at about 2:45 in the morning ordered Uber Eats. The food was delivered and placed on the doorstep, but Caleb never picked it up. Joining me now to give us the latest update in the search is Caleb's dad, Randy Harris. Randy, thanks once again for joining me. I'm so sorry we're still having this conversation because it means Caleb isn't back home yet. Any weekend leads or updates you're able to share?
Not a whole lot. I mean, we're just working diligently with the authorities and search groups and family and friends. And today we'll be doing a lot of additional just door knocking. And we've got friends that have donated their helicopters. So I'm going to be up in a helicopter today doing some aerial searches, hopefully some areas that we haven't been able to get to with, 4x4s or ATVs and boats. Not a whole lot of direction just yet. We're still trying to find true north, and we're just hoping today we'll get some breaks.
Yeah, and I know it's all hands on deck, and that police have recently expanded their search into your hometown, New Braunfels, San Antonio. But you're saying you don't even know enough to at least have an area of focus nearby land or even waterways?
Not right now. I mean, we're chasing every single lead that comes in. Of course, we're offering the reward now, so that's hopefully beginning to bring in some leads that we can at least go look for. That's what we're hoping.
I also understand Caleb has been spotted in some surveillance video. Can you share more with us about what that video entails? Anything concerning in that footage that you saw?
In that particular one, that was around 1 a.m. They were outside playing with the dog, and we've kind of mentioned that they were just outside playing with the dog, having fun, and that was a doorbell camera that caught them out at that just right there at the apartments.
And which one is Caleb? Which in that video?
The white shirt with the cap.
The white
on.
shirt. Okay. What about phone pings? Anything from his phone records?
Just 244 sending a snap to my daughter, and then phone went off around 12:58. There were some additional AT&T IP pings that we've been really focused on right there at his apartment, and then pretty close to his apartment area as well. We've been really focused on those because we feel like the phone was possibly there somewhere. But at this point, we'll probably never find the phone because of the time frame that we're in.
Yeah.
But we're still definitely positive.
And we have a map and a route they're going of kind of those last movements with the phone pings. We've also learned that when Caleb disappeared, he wasn't wearing shoes. He didn't have his wallet. He certainly wouldn't have been able to.
Oh my God, I didn't realize he wasn't wearing shoes. So there you've got another one who wasn't wearing shoes. What's with these boys that go out with no shoes on? I couldn't walk without shoes. I mean, maybe with socks. Because you get like stones, you stand on stone. I can't stand anything sticking into my foot. I hate being without shoes. Even in the house, I don't like to walk around with. I normally wear flip-flops. So, one thing you do think is if somebody pops outside without shoes, they're not planning on being outside very long. What happened to this boy?
get very far on his own. Do you think Caleb asked for help from someone? Was he that type of person?
We don't know. We really don't know. He is the kind of kid that would help somebody if they needed help. So we really don't know. We don't know if he came up on something and somebody needed help, and we just don't know. We don't have that direction, and that's why we're really begging everybody that has security cameras in and around Corpus Christi and other areas. Just take 5 minutes. Go back to that 2:30 to 3:30 or 2:30 to 4 o'clock time frame, and look at your camera and see if we can find anything, because in today's technology there's got to be a video out there somewhere.
Yeah. Speaking of videos and just asking for other people to please come forward and help, you're using social media to help in the search for finding your son. How exactly are you using that help, and what do you want people watching right now to know?
Social media is great. I mean, everything from,
My God, are they all dead animals that he shot? Oh, sorry, Caleb, I don't agree with that at all. So it looks like he's a real hunter and fisherman. That looks horrible, I'm afraid. But anyway, it doesn't mean to say I don't want him to be found, but that is a horrible picture.
obviously Facebook and I've posted stuff on some of my business LinkedIn pages, TikTok, Instagram, things like that. We're just hoping that, again, somebody sees something, somebody says something that would lead us to a lead to find him.
Well, we are praying that your family gets answers. We'll continue to keep a spotlight on Caleb and his story. Randy Harris, thanks once again. We'll check back in with you soon. Please keep us posted. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to
Okay, so yeah, it's obviously, I know that it's a big thing hunting in America. But that wasn't a nice picture, was it? But anyway, he looks like a nice enough lad, but unfortunately that's not my idea of fun. But anyway, so what we're going to look at now is the CCTV. So this is the last CCTV footage of him, I believe, or that they know so far anyway.
Was seen before he seemingly vanished on March 4th around 3 a.m. He's wearing white. He's also wearing a baseball cap there.
So there he is, and he's smiling again. He's smiling away. He's always smiling, isn't he? That's the impression from what we have seen. That we haven't seen a picture of him where he's not smiling. Maybe they're the pictures that have been the photos that have been chosen. But yeah, big smiles. He looks happy. And that's always makes you feel that then it's not likely that he did anything to himself. But of course, it's not beyond the realms of possibility, is it?
Seen here with two friends and a dog he was walking outside of his apartment complex. Well, now his family is doubling their reward to $50,000 to try to get information leading to Caleb's safe return home. And joining me now is Caleb's father, Randy Harris. Randy, thank you so much for giving me some of your time. I hate that we're speaking again because it means Caleb still hasn't come home. Late last week, police released this more detailed timeline of the time leading up to his disappearance. Is there anything that stands out to you as his father?
No, not right now. I mean, it's as accurate as we can be at this point. We're hoping for some additional information, in the very, very near future that maybe will change that or gives us a little bit better direction. But right now, the police are doing their job and a good job, and we just got to go with what they're doing right now.
Absolutely. How much information are investigators able to tell you? I don't know how much they can keep you in the loop when it comes to tips coming in that could possibly lead to finding Caleb.
Well, with the reward, we are getting a lot of tips. Most of them, are more just maybe think they saw him or, how can they help and things like that. We haven't really got any solid tips just yet, but we're with raising the award amount. Hopefully, somebody will, step up and take us up on it. We'd like to see that happen.
Absolutely. And I know right now we don't know what happened to Caleb, Part of this timeline, though, shows that shortly before his communication ended, he had sent a Snapchat photo to one of his high school friends of what police say is a small bridge over a drainage ditch near his apartment. Randy, do you know if investigators have or are
I do think that's a very strange photo to send your friend.
taking a closer look around that area?
Absolutely. Even the second day into this, you'll see in those videos you're showing there. I mean, there was a tremendous amount of effort, especially at that location, not only from the authorities, the search and rescue teams, additional search and rescue teams, and the college kids. I mean, that area was hand to hand walking in the.
Now, just a little something that I noticed, of course, we saw the mum as well on the first video, the mum and dad speaking, but lately, the videos, it's only been the dad. I wonder if the mum is starting to unravel a bit now, because as time goes on, you know, it looks less and less hopeful, because now it only seems to be the dad that we're seeing being interviewed.
The creek wasn't flowing at the time, so it's just a muddy bottom creek, and into that little bridge, you know, it's very easy to see into, very thoroughly, you know, searched.
So it's all been searched, but I think, like I said, the creek wasn't flowing at the time. So, oh God, not more water. You just think, ugh. But anyway, he's got to be there somewhere, or somebody's taking him away somewhere, I suppose. Very strange. I mean, and he could have done something to himself. You know, people, although he looked so happy on all those photos, he didn't look like he was thinking of doing anything. But we had somebody here in my village, sort of, I did know him, but I didn't know him that well, but I knew his friends very well. And he literally showed no signs of, you know, being depressed. Nobody knew anything. He just literally said to his roommate one night, oh, I'm just going out for, you know, have a little drive around. And he took himself off somewhere, threw himself off a bridge. And that was it for him. And sent a few texts when he must have been sat beside where he did it. Sent a couple of texts to his friends, sent a text to his mum, you know, saying goodbye and I love you. And then that was it. But nobody had any idea, nobody. So that he'd even been depressed. They knew he was a bit fed up over, it was, he had a little, I think it was a little girl, and he'd split up from the mother. And, you know, he was a bit fed up about that because he was worried he might not get to see her much. But, you know, these are problems that people talk about all the time, but he'd not expressed any intention of doing anything to himself. So, well, all I'm trying to say is you never know, do you? You do never, ever know what's going on in someone's head. And just because they don't talk about it doesn't mean to say they're not thinking about it.
Area up and down that creek line.
So Randy, give us an idea of Caleb's personality. You know, what kind of young man is he? Is he the type of person that would just decide at 3 a.m. to get up and leave?
Not at all. Not at all. Very a creature of habit, and not something that he would do. You know, even with his closest friends or his roommates. That's very uncharacteristic of Caleb for sure. He would not do that. Plus, you know, we feel almost 100% that he was barefooted. He didn't have his wallet, didn't have his key.
Oh, so apparently the reward now is $50,000. It's been doubled. 50, yeah. So they're obviously getting quite anxious now. I wonder if that's why his mum is not now appearing in videos.
His truck is locked, drives his truck wherever he needs to go. So very uncharacteristic.
Okay. And is there anything else? I know you've, expressed confidence in police and in the investigation. Is there anything else you'd like to see happening with this investigation, with the direction that it's going?
Well, we'd just like to have some answers. We're not getting a whole lot of answers, but it's understandable if there are leads that they are looking at, that they're not going to share a whole lot of information there. So, we just have to keep our faith that everybody's doing what they need to be doing. Ideally, with the reward money, that's the big push, and we're still also really pushing everybody, not only in Corpus, but there's a good chance he's not here. I mean, there's a good chance he may have, maybe in another part of the state or country. And so we're urging, and thank you for having this in a national platform, because I think that's what we need, and urging everybody to not only keep on the lookout for him, but check your Ring cameras periodically and just see if you see something.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.
Okay, so that is the story of Caleb. Caleb Harris so far. So he's disappeared. His parents need answers. Yeah, that's where we are with Caleb. So he's the first missing young person that I wanted to talk about. I think I've just missed someone coming in there. Hi, Nanielle. So who I want to talk about now, we're now going to, so let's hope we've got our candle lit. We're hoping for some answers in the Caleb case for his parents, and hopefully be found safe and well. But, again, it just doesn't look very promising, does it, when it's been over a month? His phone switched off, no sign of him, no trace of him. It doesn't look very positive, does it? But of course we have to stay positive. There are sort of different options, I suppose, for what might have happened to him. Okay, so now we're going to look at a case in the UK now. Again, a similar case, a young man gone missing. This case is similar to the Riley Strain case as well, because this young man, he was out enjoying himself at a party. I mean, you should be able to go, to a party, not think that you're never going to come home again. But let me just show you a photo. So this is Jacko Sullivan, and this is in Bristol in the UK. Bristol is in the south, is it? Or somewhere near the south. And Jacko Sullivan is 23 years old, and he vanished last month after going to a party. So apparently his heartbroken parents retrace his last known walk every day. Now, I don't know if I haven't been seen any last CCTV of Jack, whether there is any or not, but I haven't seen it. Anyway, his desperate family now say they've been trapped in hell and are living hour by hour. So very sad, isn't it? So police are still appealing for any information as to Jack's whereabouts. He is described as white, 5'10", slim build with short brown hair, and he was last seen wearing a quilted green or brown Barber jacket over a beige woolen jumper, navy chinos, and brown leather trainers with white soles. So this article was the 6th of April, so it was updated the 6th of April, which is only yesterday. So the heartbroken parents of Jacko Sullivan have said they retrace his last known walk every day in the hopes of finding something that may tell them what happened. So he's a 23-year-old law graduate. So again, someone else with his whole life in front of him. And he vanished after going to a house party on Hotwell Road in Bristol in the early hours of March the 2nd. So again, over a month has gone by. Now, this is interesting to me. His mother, Catherine O'Sullivan, recalled how she woke up just after 5 a.m. that morning and instantaneously knew that something was wrong, as she realised her son was not at home. And using Find My Friend, she could see he was not at the location of the party. So her and her husband, Alan, immediately went out to search for him in what would soon be the first of many days of hell. We live hour by hour. You can't plan for the next day. We just communicate with police and we wait. We wait, Miss O'Sullivan told the Telegraph. So very sad. I can, my heart just goes out to this mother, all the family and friends. I cannot imagine how awful it is to know that your son is missing. You feel like something's happened to him, but you've got no answers. Oh, here's a bit of CCTV then, by the look of it. So his mother, Catherine O'Sullivan, recalled how she woke up, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we just read that. So is this him? I take it. Let's see. So this is him. Is his arms out there? It's difficult. I'm useless with CCTV. I really am. Is there more water around here? This is going to involve water, isn't it? You can just see there it will. There he is again. He's probably had quite a bit to drink if he's been to a party. Oh, here's his parents talking. Let's have a look at what they've got to say.
So today marks 1 month since 23-year-old Jacko Sullivan went missing. He was last seen just after 3:10 in the morning on Saturday the 2nd of March, just behind me on the green space just below Brunel Way. We're appealing for information from anybody that may have been on any of these roads walking or driving, any dashcam footage that they may have if they were travelling through this area during 3 a.m. on the 2nd of March and 7 a.m. Jack's description is a white male, 5'10", short brown hair, and he was wearing a green-brown Barber jacket, a cream jumper underneath, blue chinos, brown shoes with white soles. This is obviously a very difficult, stressful time for his family, so we're seeking to provide them with the answers that they need.
Now, do you think he's been attacked? I couldn't see any water around there. Maybe he got attacked somewhere there, because it looks like quite a, in the early hours of the morning, that'd be quite an eerie place, wouldn't it?
What happened to Jack after he was seen just after 3:10?
We're here to appeal for any information regarding our son Jack Sullivan, who's now been missing for 31 days. He was last seen in this exact spot just behind us. I would just ask if anybody has any information or sighting around 3:12 in the morning on Saturday the 2nd of March. You may have just been in the area and just noticed something that was just slightly out of character, somebody wandering around. We just ask you because we really need to find him.
Oh, dear me, dear me.
West Yorkshire Police is appealing for information to help trace a family of 7 who've been reported missing. They're believed to have travelled.
Problem is, it's tragedy after tragedy, isn't it? So we just watched that video where his parents speak. So he was described as his mother as, he's had his birthday while he's been missing. 28th of March, he turned 23. And he's described by his mother as sporty, determined and gentle. He put tremendous amount of effort into his next steps. He had already secured summer placements, which are really hard to get, but he put in 45 applications because he's a law graduate. She said, Jack is a really good chap. He's very gentle. He just wanted to make sure everybody else was okay. He had gone to meet friends in Bristol for a usual Saturday night out, travelling by bus at 8:20 from his village Flax Bourton to a Wetherspoons pub in the city. At 10:45, so he sounds like someone who keeps in touch with his mum, letting her know what he's doing, because at 10:45 he texted his mother that they had moved on to a house party and safely arrived at the new location. All good. Sorry, I'm just laughing because my son has lost more keys than you can ever imagine. All good, keys are safe, he wrote. And at 1:52 a.m, he sent her a final text saying he was okay. Honestly, as far as that rings such a bell with me, because keys, when my son was living in his own place, Oh my God, how many times. I always kept a copy of keys for him, thank goodness, because how many times I would get a message, oh, I've lost my keys, can't find my keys. Took the dog out and I had the keys with me and I've lost them, and I've had to go over there, take my spare keys. Then I've had to go and get him another set made, because just couldn't be without a copy, a set of keys, because I think at least 5 times he lost his keys. He doesn't now, because in the end I put him on one of those lanyard things. He puts his key around his neck because, you know, young boys, especially, well, young men, especially like that when they're out and they're drunk and they take things out of their pocket and the keys are the first thing to go. So all good keys are safe. That just, I can really resonate with that. Then shortly before 3 a.m, he left the party alone. It all comes down to this alone again. And, you know, a lot of people say, oh, why don't they get taxis? But, you know, young people can't normally afford taxis because they've normally spent all their money on alcohol or whatever, you know, alcohol, drugs, whatever they're on. They spend all their money on that, and they don't think of a taxi as being an important thing. They think, oh, I can walk it home. So CCTV captured part of his movement through the city, leaving the house party, crossing the Junction Swing Bridge and turning down Brunel Lock Road at about 3:15 a.m. So here. Yeah, so this is a map showing the route that he took. The thing is, you think you're invincible at that age. You think you're invincible. You don't think anything will happen to you. So again, this is him, I think, on the CCTV. So as you can see, the streets are deserted. There won't have been many people. There won't have been many cars at that time in the morning, because he'd been to a house party. If it was round about 3 o'clock, you know, it's even later than the clubs throw out at 2, don't they normally, I think? So there's not going to be many people wandering around at that time. Anyway, he called a friend who was still at the party at 3:24. When the friend returned the call 10 minutes later, Jack answered the phone and said hello, but nothing else. The call lasted for 58 seconds before being disconnected. That's strange, isn't it? So he called a friend who was still at the party at 3:24, and when the friend returned the call, he answered and said hello, but nothing else. Anyway, Miss O'Sullivan said the friend left the party soon after. A female friend, this is. She tried to get hold of him, but couldn't. She sent messages to him saying, please let me know where you are. Please let me know you're okay. And please let me know when you get home. So his family have now taken to walking his final route every day and at different times of the day. That's exactly what I would do. This is something that always surprised me, like, you know, with Nicola Bulley case or any case, if you could, that's exactly what you would do. You would be there. You would be walking where he was last seen. You would be looking at it, you know, searching in all the surrounding area. That's what you would do. You would have to. And they want to experience what it might have been like for Jack and any indication as to what might have happened. I wanted to see if it was dark and how it felt, but it's incredibly well lit, they said. So officers said his phone remained active on the Find My Friends app until 6:44 a.m. Since then, there is a river. Since then, his parents have had to hear the heartbreaking news from the police that they are working on a hypothesis that he may have fallen into the river. They also approached the family with a key that was found by authorities that they thought might have belonged to Jack, but it was not his. Senior investigating officer D.I. Jason Chidgey, said officers had used drones, dogs and dive teams in the River Avon as part of a significant number of searches in the area. Detectives have also carried out extensive CCTV trawls, house-to-house inquiries, as well as looking at Jack's phone to work out why that was active after his last confirmed sighting. However, Detective Inspector Chidgey admitted his team was still trying to establish Jack's movements following his last sighting of him on CCTV. He said this is an incredibly difficult and distressing time for the family, and we're continuing our efforts to try and find him. We're keeping an open mind about where Jack is, but this is very out of character for him, and we have been working hard to track his movements that night. So he's described as white, 5'10", slim build, short brown hair, wearing a quilted green-brown Barber jacket over a beige woolen jumper, navy chinos, brown leather trainers with white soles. And there he is, Jacko Sullivan. So I hope he hasn't gone into the river. Well, you know, something's happened to him. This guy, if he could, I'm presuming they've checked the hospitals, etc. If this guy could, you know, contact his family, he would. So it's very, very sad and heartbreaking because it doesn't look very positive. Hi, David. David, I did wonder the other day when, new phones. I've got a new, well, say I've got a new phone. Somebody's given me a phone. A friend of mine has given me an iPhone. I've never used an iPhone before. I haven't even started trying to swap things over yet because I don't think I can face it. Hi, A. I'm just looking up to see if I've missed anyone coming in. So that's the story of Jack. So that's two young men, Caleb and Jack. Caleb over in Texas and Caleb in Bristol here in the, well, I say here in the UK. I'm in Spain, of course, but in the UK. And the last case that we're going to look at, this is another mysterious case. This is not a young man this time. These are two women that you may have heard about that have gone missing in America. And definitely there is foul play in this case of two women. It's very unusual for two people to go missing at the same time. And these two women were friends. There's a little bit of an age difference between them. But they've gone missing on their way to pick up one of the women's child from like, there's oh God, what do they call it? Like they have shared custody. She has shared custody, and she was taking her friend with her. So we've got, let me just give you their names. So Veronica Butler is the person whose child it was they were going to pick up, and Veronica is 27. Veronica Butler, and she took with her her friend Jilian Kelley, who's 39. And they both set off to pick up their children, to pick up the child, to take them to a birthday party. And they never arrived. And their car has been found. This is in Oklahoma. Well, the car's been found in Oklahoma. And the police have said there is foul play, but they have tried to swear everyone to secrecy. So the police have asked people not to, any witnesses or any, when I say witnesses, anyone who saw the car, anyone who knew anything about it. The police have tried to close it down, and keep people quiet, which there's obviously an investigation going on. But let's just have a look. Well, first of all, I'll just read you what happened. So the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation has said that foul play is suspected in the disappearance of 2 Kansas women whose vehicle was found abandoned in Oklahoma. So, Veronica Butler, 27, and Jilian Kelley, 39, of Hugoton, Kansas, were driving to Oklahoma to pick up Veronica's children to attend a March 30th birthday party in Kansas, but they never showed up. Now, the car has been found, and because of what the police are not releasing what they found in the car that makes them think this, but they are saying that because of what they found in the car, there's evidence of foul play, and it is their opinion that foul play happened. The abandoned vehicle was found by the Texas County deputies, just abandoned on the road, and the sheriff's office has turned the investigation over to the Oklahoma sort of officials. So we're still looking into where and when they were last seen. No children are missing, so they haven't got as far as picking up the children yet. So the children are not missing, but investigators are searching the area in Texas County, which is 11 miles or 18 kilometers south of Elkhart, Kansas in the USA, on the Oklahoma-Kansas state line. And the area is about 260 miles northwest of Oklahoma City. So, right, let's have a look at some videos now about it. Let me see. So here we're going to watch the authorities giving some information, or a bit of information.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. It's Hunter McKee, Hunter McKee, Public Information Manager, Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation. On Saturday, March 30th, the Texas County Sheriff's Office requested the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation to investigate the suspicious disappearance of 2 women. This was 27-year-old Veronica Butler and 39-year-old Jilian Kelley. Their vehicle was found abandoned. This was near Highway 95 and Road L, and this was just south of Elkhart, Kansas. This was on the very northern part of rural Texas County, just south of that Kansas line. As soon as the OSBI special agents were requested to assist with this case, our special agents, along with several other local law enforcement agencies in that area, all came together to try to track down where these 2 people went. As this investigation continued, our agents were able to determine.
So just to say, so the 2 women are not in the car, but there's evidence of foul play in the car, but they haven't released what the foul play is. I mean, it's going to be some blood, isn't it? Or something, or some signs of a struggle or something. But whoever has done this to them, they've either taken them out of the car and hidden them somewhere roundabout, or they've taken them off somewhere. I suppose we can hope that they've taken them off alive, though, you know, the police seem sort of a bit, what's the word? They haven't said that they think they're dead, but they've said that definitely some foul play has taken place. And they've asked everybody to be quiet, probably because of the investigation. Just, they haven't put a gag order on or anything like that. They haven't made it a legal requirement. They've just asked people not to talk about it too much while they're investigating. Now, I'm not sure why the children were so far away. That's obviously who the children were with. I'm not sure, because the ex-partner of the lady whose children it was, the younger woman of the 2, he is supposedly in drug rehab. So whether he's got an alibi or not, or whether it's something to do with his family. The thing is, when there's a custody battle, you know, it's always, these kind of things happen so often, don't they, when there's children involved, like in custody battles. There's so many you know, it's just a red flag, isn't it? But having said that, he's supposed to be in rehab. So, you know, again, we shouldn't cast aspersions. It could be nothing to do with the custody. It could be that they were attacked on the road. It could have been robbers. There could have been just, you know, a gang of men who saw two women in a car. You know, we just don't know.
Determined that the abandoned vehicle that was found along that road had information that they were able to gather that showed signs that there was foul play. As of right now, what was found inside of the vehicle, the condition of the vehicle, is still under investigation right now. And in regards to our investigation, that information cannot be released. However, we can say that based on what they were able to obtain, that there was foul play. Right now, we are still looking for both women at this time, and there are no arrests. And again, we've received several tips on this case so far, but we're asking that the public in that area or anyone that has additional information or knows about the whereabouts of these two people to please reach out to the OSBI at tips@osbi.ok.gov. And you can also call us at 1-800-522-8017.
Do we think these two women are even alive?
We're not sure at this time. We're investigating this. We're investigating this as everything is on the table. We are hopeful that they are still alive, but we're going to do everything in our power to track these two people down as quickly as we can.
There's a school district that has been on lockdown for days over this. Why?
That is the school district's decision. However, we understand that there are teachers and other people in the area that are very concerned, and we understand that they're doing what they can to keep their kids safe, as well as their teachers safe as well. That is not something that the OSBI necessarily had told them that they needed to do, but that was the school district's decision, and we understand that they're just trying to keep everyone as safe as possible.
Should Oklahoma be concerned?
Yeah, so the schools in the area have closed down, you know, because, well, you know, they just don't know what's going on. I mean, is this, you know, as I say, you feel that this is suspicious as far as the custody is concerned, but it could just be some absolute lunatic out there. You know, when they just, all they know is it's foul play, so they don't know, you know, foul play from who or how or whatever. So that, or this, you know, if you lived in that area, you would feel very nervous. So all the schools have closed down.
About their well-being?
At this time, we do not believe that the public is in immediate danger. But again, we're trying to do everything that we can to talk to as many people in that area as we can. And because there is foul play involved in this case, we're doing what we can to identify possible suspects. And then if anything changes in regards to that, or if there's someone that we are specifically looking for, we will let the public know.
You know, they do have to walk a tightrope, don't they, really? Because they have to give some information, because the media and the mainstream media I'm talking about, really, and the public in general, want some information, you know, so they've got to give some information out. But of course, they're restricted to what information they can give out because they've got an investigation going on. So I think, you know, it always works better when they have someone good at handling the media. I think this guy's doing quite well because he's telling. Thing is, all you can do is you tell what you can tell, and when you can't say something, you say you cannot say it. You don't try and hedge around it or make someone feel stupid for asking that question. You just literally say, I cannot divulge that information at the moment, but as soon as we can, we will. You know, it's not rocket science. It's just dealing properly with people. And the investigations that go, like, you know, that take a lot of criticism are always the ones where they don't deal with the media or the public properly.
And we will let them know if that changes. But as of right now, there are no suspects identified. And right now, we do not believe that the public is in immediate danger.
Any leads on suspects? How many people are we kind of looking at?
That is still under investigation right now.
The story is they were picking up children. What were they? Their children? Whose children were they?
We're still investigating that right now. We know that there was another law enforcement agency that had determined that that's where they were going. But right now, our agents are still investigating where their final destination was and where these women were exactly traveling to. We know they were traveling from Kansas. We know they were driving through Oklahoma, and their abandoned vehicle was found in Oklahoma. But where they were going is still under investigation right now. Again, that the information that was found inside of the vehicle or around the vehicle is something that we're not going to release at this time.
Are we any closer to finding the girls?
We are hopeful. Our agents and other law enforcement agencies in that area are working around the clock to do what they can to track these two people down and to find out what had occurred, why they went missing. I mean, all of that is still under investigation right now, but we're hopeful that we'll have more details coming.
We're saying these are mothers. Have you been able to speak to anyone's family? How are they feeling this evening?
There's a lot of individuals that our agents have been in contact with and have spoke to so far. That's family, that's friends, that's people that have been in contact with them up until the hours in missing. But right now we're not going into details of who we're exactly speaking to, but we're talking to as many people as we can to try to find out what had occurred.
And there's really limited information about who these women were. Is there any more that you could tell us? Two mothers, that's about it?
Not at this time. We know that these are two women who, unfortunately, because they are missing, because it's been since Saturday, since anyone has heard from them, and because we were able to obtain information to declare that there was foul play, this is extremely sad and extremely unfortunate. We're hopeful that we'll be able to find out what had happened very soon.
Any additional information you can give us at this time?
Not at this time. We, again, what we're going to try to do is based on what we're able to find. What I can say is right now we will continue to update on any information that we deem is to release.
This poor guy, they keep asking him the same question and he can't give the information and they're still trying to get it out of him. Anyway, it's nearly finished this and then we're just going to look at the women themselves.
To the public on our social media platform. So again, we ask that people who want to follow this can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. So we will continue to put out updates. As of right now, there is nothing additional, but as soon as we have anything else, we will definitely let everyone know.
There was a Amber Alert over Easter weekend as well. Is this in connection to it at all?
No.
Okay. And how many missing people are right now in Texas County?
Right now in Texas County, we're looking for two people. And again, I just want people to understand that the public, the citizens in that area have done a tremendous job of reaching out to us. They are concerned. They want these women found. They want as many answers as possible, and we understand that. But as we kind of...
Okay, that's nearly finished now. There's not really much else it's going to say. So we're just going to have a look at one more video about this. So here are the two ladies. On the left is Veronica. And on the right is Jilian. So Veronica Butler, who's 27 years old on the left. It was her children that they were going to pick up. And Jilian on the right here, who's 39 years old. She was going with her to, help out. So let's just have a look at this video now.
Two missing moms disappeared somewhere in one of the most remote parts of America. Veronica Butler, 27 years old, Jilian Kelley, 39. They were driving from Houghton, Kansas to Eva, Oklahoma. You can see there right on the border. Because of a bitter custody battle, the other mom came along for support. Neither ever made it to pick up the kids. Police found their car abandoned in a rural area. Almost all of this is rural Oklahoma.
So this is right out in the sticks, right out in the boonies. So it's a perfect place to attack somebody without anybody likely to be around. And I'm not only saying as far as the custody thing is concerned, it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen the film The Hills Have Eyes, when you go in these rural places, crossing the desert. No wonder she didn't want to go on her own, but you would think if there was two of them, you know, they would be safer, but obviously they weren't safe. And whether it's anything to do with the custody battle or whether it's just completely unrelated, could, you know, we just don't know yet. We don't know yet. But yeah, when you see how out in the sticks it is quite, you know, it just makes you wonder with these custody things. People should, I think that personally, there should be no connection between the two parties. So in other words, when your children have got to go back to the other person, you should be, because there's been so many incidences of custody battles, and it's the changeover time when there's always a problem, because that's the time when, if you're, you know, you have to meet your ex-partner and hand over the children or take the children back. They should be definitely, I don't think that people should have to do that without an intermediary. The children should be taken somewhere and then, you know, literally in through one door, and maybe the other person comes in through the other door, through an official intermediary, because there's always these kind of issues with custody. But having said that, we still don't know yet if it is to do with that, but it's just something that struck me. So you'd be terrified. Imagine going to pick your children up from someone who'd been a domestic abuser maybe, or threatened your life, and you've got to go and pick them up.
Oklahoma, with no trace of the moms.
That unknown is what has created it suspicious for us at this time. Sheriff's office deputies approach the vehicle, and these women are gone, and they're nowhere to be seen.
Brooke Schaefer joins us from Texas County, Oklahoma, right there on the Texas-Kansas border. Brooke, all right, how far into the search are we?
These moms have been missing since Saturday at this point, Leland. Still not a lot of information on what happened out here. Like you said, this is a very rural spot in Oklahoma. The closest town to where we are standing is probably about 15 miles from us. Cell signals going in and out, so there's not a lot of, you know, surveillance cameras. There aren't a lot of witnesses out here, so that's definitely a difficult layer in trying to track them down. But yesterday we got a major update from investigators. They said they now have some evidence either in or around the abandoned car that these women were traveling in that leads them to believe there's foul play suspected in the suspicious disappearance of these two moms.
I mean, just look how desolate it is. I mean, it'd be quite nice. I'd love to drive that, you know, because I think it's quite nice. But even so, it would be pretty scary, because you would feel remote. And if you broke down or anything, my God, or you had a flat tire, oh my God, I'd be terrified.
Day we came out here to this rural area to really see it for ourselves, see what these women were potentially dealing with, see what investigators are battling right now. And you see on your screen, we met a couple of people who were actually out here on horseback. They were just volunteers. They got in their car. They drove about 4 hours to come down here to try and find these two moms. They said they were looking for any evidence that could maybe lead to their whereabouts. Here's one of them. I talked to them. Take a listen.
What made you want to come out here and search?
Just nobody looking, and I felt bad for them. I have a farm with horses, and we had talked to the sheriff, and he said, we'll take all the help we can get. And so I called my hand, and I was like, let's go.
When you get on these horses, what are you guys going to be looking for? What are you hoping to spot?
Here we go. This is another of those needle in a haystack places, isn't it? Just look at all this, you know. That she goes on to say that she's looking for places maybe where people have been dragged off the road. If you dragged them off the road there, if they were unfortunately deceased and they were dragged off the road, and you know, it's a long area to search. I mean, you know, no wonder they said they'll take all the help they can get. It's a big area to search for those two women. Personally, I think they've been taken off in a car or something. But maybe not. Maybe they're there somewhere.
Grass that's been knocked over, or just anything tracking wise, footprints, tire tracks, whatever goes off into the grass, or just any signs of foul play.
So, Leland, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation is right now handling the suspicious disappearance of these moms. I actually just got off the phone with their public information officer, and I said, do you think that these women are still alive? He said, as of today, they are still hopeful to find these two moms alive. But as of right now, no sign of them. No one has been arrested. And they're also not sharing whether or not they have any suspects or persons of interest in this case, Leland.
Yeah, you think there's so much here, right? And yet so little to go on because, as you point out, rural Oklahoma, not a lot of surveillance cameras around. The distances between these towns is enormous. There's a lot of country roads, a lot of farm roads to move around on. What do we know about where the car was found? Was it abandoned next to a side of the road? Was there any attempt to hide it? Had it been burned? Anything like that?
Yeah, so this is actually the area where we're standing. This is where these moms were supposed to meet up. This is where they were supposed to pick up Veronica Butler's two kids. Where they found the car was about 10 minutes away from here, so they really were not far from their destination. I talked to a witness today. He did not want to go on camera, but he told me that he saw the car that these women had been in. He saw it abandoned. He said there was nobody around it by the time he saw it on Saturday morning. He didn't get close enough, he said, to see if there was any broken windows or anything like that. But he said that the car was parked sort of in the brush right off of the highway, not really necessarily a normal spot that you would pull over. Again, investigators are saying that they have evidence.
Look how desolate that is. But on another vein, you think, you know, if there was any other car coming up or anybody around, they would see, wouldn't they, as clear as day? I mean, it's not woodland, is it? I mean, if something happened there, somebody would have to really take a chance that nobody else would be passing at that moment, because it's completely open, and it would be possible to see them, you know, see anything that was happening. But gosh, it does look very lonely and desolate.
Either in or around the car, leading them to believe there's foul play in all of this. We've heard some rumors that there was maybe blood around the car. We haven't been able to independently confirm that. I've tried asking investigators about that multiple times. So far, they are not willing to confirm whether or not that was the case, only saying that they believe there's foul play because of something they have seen either in or around the car.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.
Okay, so there you go. That's the those are the three cases I wanted to look at with you this morning. So we've looked at the case of Caleb Harris, who's disappeared in America. We've looked at Jack's case, who's disappeared in Jacko Sullivan in Bristol in the UK. Caleb Harris was in Texas. And now we've got Veronica Butler and Jilian Kelley in Kansas. So three very mysterious disappearances for very different reasons. And three families that are, you know, going through hell, really, wondering, because certainly Caleb and Jack have been missing for over a month. And you know, over a month, you know, they're young men, like a bit similar to the Riley Strain case in age-wise. Jacko Sullivan had been to a party also, and his last CCTV sighting was around 3 a.m. in the, you know, walking home. Caleb was more even mysterious because he was literally, you know, just as his apartment had ordered his Uber Eats for his fishing lunch the next day. You know, obviously it's not unusual for young people to still be awake at 3 o'clock in the morning and, you know, go out. But he, again, like Sebastian Rogers, he had no shoes on. He went out with no shoes on. Never been seen since. Sent that mysterious photo of the bridge. You know, is that connected? Has he done something to himself? Did he just sort of, you know, get the urge to go and do something to himself? I mean, all these things are being investigated, obviously, by the police. Was he depressed? And then same with Jacko Sullivan. He was coming home from a party. Again, no evidence that he had any depression that we know of, but of course we don't know everything. And his poor parents appealing for help, walking his walk, that route that he walked, walking it every day, several times a day, trying to find some evidence of what has happened to their son. And now we've got this completely different case of Veronica Butler and Jilian Kelley, which obviously looks, you know, your first suspect is going to be the people close to them, isn't it? That's what we've seen all the time. You start close and work outwards. But is it, you know, the guy's in rehab, but as David said, you know, you can pay somebody to get rid of somebody, or even, you know, family sometimes, you know, takes umbrage, you know, at custody battles, or it could be something completely unrelated. As you say, David, they might have bumped into the guy, the twonk that murdered Rachel Marin, because we don't know where he is yet. And he could be anywhere, because he's been in Los Angeles and he's been in Maryland near Baltimore. So he could quite easily, just as easily, be in Kansas. So, yeah. Well, you can always rewind, Maggie. Rewind, that's an old-fashioned expression, isn't it? This is a very interesting case. All the three of them are interesting in different ways. Mysteries, you know, that this one in particular, but it's made more mysterious, I think, because the police are really playing their cards close to their chest, but they have come out and said it's definitely foul play. So that's one thing we know. One thing we know. But Charlie, yeah, is it tomorrow, the total eclipse? Yeah. Do you remember there was a total eclipse? How long ago would it have been? About 20 years ago here in Spain? I presume you had it in the UK as well. Everyone thought the world was going to end, didn't they? Everyone thought the world was going to end, but it didn't. It didn't end. It carried on turning. So maybe we'll have a look at that tomorrow, or I'll try and find out what time it is, but it's bound to be while I'm in bed or something. So don't forget to leave your fingerprints on the like button. Have a great day or evening or afternoon or whatever time it is, wherever you are. Yeah, if you've missed any of the cases, have a look back. So we've looked at 3 different cases today of missing people, because seem to have been doing a lot of missing people at the moment. I think I'll be back later to do a live later on today on Sunday, but I will do something different, completely different. You know, probably a case that we know what happened. Because sometimes it's quite frustrating, isn't it? I mean, frustrating for us. I mean, it's more frustrating, obviously, for the family. But, you know, we, as human beings, we want to know what's happened to these people. We want a resolution for their families. I've got my candle going, because I've got all my candles now from IKEA. I've got enough for a little while. Oh, see, Charlie, you're always good with, so good with information. I'm going to write that down. So it begins Texas 127. I'm sure it'll be being covered on some news channel, but it just depends what time that is in Spain. Charlie, you're a mine of information. Okay, so have a great Sunday if it is Sunday where you are, and I will see you later. So what's the lesson for today? So, gosh, so many lessons, but the thing is, when someone you love goes missing, there's not much you can do about it to stop it happening. All you can try and do is make sure all your loved ones, not only your children, but all of them, you know, you have some I know that to keep in touch, because at least these days we can keep in touch easily, you know, with messages, etc. And you know, you'd think with the technology that we've got these days, you wouldn't think there would be so many missing people, would you? You think it'd make it easier to find people, which I'm sure it does, but sometimes it just doesn't work. But Maggie, never leave the house. Never leave the house. Yeah, maybe. David says the last eclipse he saw was when the missus rolled over in bed. I know Mrs. David will be really annoyed with you for saying that, David. So all enjoy your day. I'm going to try and get a bit of sun because it's quite nice, even though I've got all the blinds down at the moment. But it's a nice day here in Spain, so I'm going to try and get some sun. I hope all of you have a nice day, whatever you're doing. And until I see you again, as always, may your God go with you. Bye. Thank you.